appreciation and his spirit was contagious. His narratives were harmonic and rich. He knew how to touch the lives of anyone and everyone. And I do mean anyone, the rich, the poor, the black or white, regardless of where you lived or how you were perceived, Gus valued you. Whether he was your brother, father, cousin, friend, acquaintance, stranger, or just simply, as he was to us, Gramps. He believed you were capable of attaining wealth, but his perception of wealth was directly correlated to the amount of determination and work you put in. He believed we became wealthy and rich individuals through the enriching experiences, expansion of our minds, and positioning outlook that would continue to benefit not only the self, but the society for the better. Grandpa instilled these fundamental lessons into me and my siblings. He empowered and believed in me when others were in doubt. And he was never afraid to take me down memory lane or cultivate new worldly memories together. We were privileged to travel globally, exploring the edges of the Indian Ocean to the Caribbean, connecting with the cultures and all people, and continuing to learn and grow. Our worldly travels brought us to the streets of cities as familiar as the one he joined in 1954, and that I began to call home in 2012. Grandpa shared his knowledge and gave us opportunity to reflect and never discounted the importance of our exposure, as he so eloquently discussed in a letter, which goes like this. A message to my 4 grandchildren. When I first came to Newark in 1954, 39% of Newark's high residents lived in high-rise brick buildings in very small rooms with no recreation or play areas for the children, virtually no security, very cold in the winter, very hot in the summer. Some rooms had not a single window so the children could see the world outside. There was no other city in America which housed so many people in such an unpleasant and dangerous conditions. But now that all has changed. Today, all of those badly conceived, designed, high-rise buildings have been destroyed, blown to the earth in a massive controlled explosions. I remind you that all 4 of you had the rare privilege of pushing the plunger, which imploded Stellarite homes, the last high-rise prisons without bars. And the government had decided that no more such human warehouses will ever be built anywhere again. As you grow older, I suspect that you will have a greater appreciation of the importance of what you're a part of. With love, Grandpa. Well, Grandpa, I wish I told you more often, but I have the utmost appreciation for all those incredible memories, stories, and times that we were blessed to be a part of. The pieces of history, large and small, intimate and public, gave me the wealth and value beyond the years we shared together. I reminisce often as I walk down the streets about the progress that has been made and the potential opportunity to continue to develop. As I worked on gathering the thoughts for this speech, I spoke to many people on even where to begin. I spoke to my countless friends he had touched. They all said, "Your grandpa showed me a place and a time I'd never been exposed to. He showed me Newark, New Jersey Performing Arts Center, for the first time, and shared many Martin Luther King Day celebrations behind those doors. Others reflected of our travels overseas, Nets games, the boat, fishing, the Harlem Globetrotters, and Martha's Vineyard, and just simply hanging out and stealing the snacks out of his glove compartment of his Lexus. All things quite simple, some childish, but narratives and stories of exposure and parts of my life that I would have never experienced if it wasn't for my Gramps. He did that for all people, always, unconditionally, gave them opportunities that enabled them the ability to rise. And if he trusted you, he took your word, and he always helped, whether it was getting into college or recommending you for a job. He trusted you and would go to bat for you, always. I wish he was still with us. Of course, in many ways, I know I'm being selfish, for he lived a very long and fruitful life. And that value was for all he was, a man, a citizen, and most importantly, Grandpa. I know he would always be shining down on all of us, leading the way with his ever so gentle voice of reason and compassion, And yes, of course, I will keep speaking up, especially in the city of Newark, because I know he'd be damn disappointed if I didn't. And Grandpa, don't worry, I've already started to. This year, I've reflected about the woman I've become, and frankly, without my Gramps, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I was blessed to spend the last few weeks reflecting with my Gramps before he departed this earth, to head to the heavens, where I would like to finally think the so-called retirement he talked about actually kicked in. This is the first time in my life the roles had changed. I was now caring for someone who had cared for me unconditionally, as long as I had been alive. As I sat at his bedside, the room was still, but filled with the soulful voice of the likes of Aretha Franklin and Ray Charles. Some of the songs you heard today were similar to the music that brought peace to Gus. And I thank Daniela unconditionally for the delicate curation of the soundtrack that I will reminisce on for eternity. It was the four of us, and Lori, Gramps, Dad, Dylan, and I. We were quiet. The music was light, but echoed the sounds of the time and the hymns of our homes. I was holding his hand. His brother had just left. He was at peace, surrounded by the people who loved him, and the spirits of those close and far who mutually extended that blessing. The time had come for him to gently slip his hand out of mine and continue on his journey. And I hope it is full of ocean views as Captain Gus rides into the sunset. Gramps, we'll be your first mates forever. We love you.